Okay, I think we gave enough time for everyone to kind of get on here. But first, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Nicole Hinckley, and I am a registered dietitian here in Dallas. My biggest goal is just to help as many people as I can just find their balance and live lives that they love while also being healthy and not feeling too restricted. So, hello. I have my phone on a little station so I can see y'all's messages here. There's a little bit of a delay, but it's not too bad. I'm gonna try to answer your questions like real time, but since there's a little bit of delay, I'll have to like if I go back on a slide, I will just let me know. But yeah, if you have any questions, you can put them in the box now. But I'm also gonna do a Q&A at the end. Okay, so today, obviously, we were talking about how to stay healthy throughout the quarantine. I know a lot of people have had a really hard time, and y'all probably heard this, but I thought it was really funny whenever it was compared to the freshman 15, like COVID-19. And I just thought it was so funny. And I know a lot of my clients have been struggling as well because their schedules have changed, and schedule is everything when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle. So today we are going to talk about just basic nutrition. We're not going to go too in depth. I just want to kind of give you like the basics, like nutrition 101, and then we're also going to discuss how to live your best quarantine life. Okay, so this is the Choose My Plate. It has replaced the food pyramid. And if you're trying to maintain weight, then this is a really great example of what your plate should look like. However, if you're trying to lose weight, I recommend that instead of having like about half fruit, half vegetables, you should do half vegetables, like over the whole, like half vegetables and then a quarter grains or fruit, and then a quarter protein. So it's a lot easier to understand than the food pyramid, because the food pyramid was like have like 5 servings of this, 2 servings of that, and it's just like, what does that even mean? So now whenever we look at our plate, we're supposed to visualize this breakdown. Okay, and this is some real life examples. These are from my Instagram. This was like a grilling day. I'm not vegan or anything, but for whatever reason, I was having like a black bean burger. So if you look at it in terms of my plate, then about half of that plate is vegetables. It's like half zucchini, half lettuce, and then a quarter protein with the black bean burger. And I went a little bit carb heavy. I had some sweet potatoes and corn. I was probably running a lot at the time. And then on the right, I have a breakfast. I was eating kale at the time. Kale for breakfast was crazy, but yeah, I typically don't have vegetables in my breakfast, but you can see that it's pretty similar to that Choose My Plate breakdown. So you have your vegetable, your fruit, your protein with the egg, the whole grain is the bread, and then some peanut butter because I'm obsessed with my peanut butter, and a little bit of chia seeds and banana. Okay, so eating whole foods is so important when living a healthy lifestyle. And the main reason for this is because whenever you're eating whole foods, it doesn't have lots of added sugars, obviously, no added sugars, and it doesn't have extra calories, it doesn't have extra fillers, preservatives, none of that stuff. So you're just getting really good nutrition. So I'm gonna challenge you guys to try to eat mostly whole foods, and you're gonna see kind of why as we go on to the PowerPoint. Okay, there are 3 main macronutrients. You have carbs, proteins, and fats. And all the foods that you eat consist of one or all 3 of these macronutrients. And it's important to like never neglect any one of these macronutrients, and also just like get a great balance of them. So let's start with carbs. Please like drop me questions about the carbs because I know you have them. But carbs are essential for our health, and I think a lot of people are scared of them, but you shouldn't be scared of them because they are so great for like everything. You need them for your brain. You need them to function for your brain, your cells. You need them to have energy. And another thing that people don't think about with carbs is that they spare protein. So if you've ever tried a low carb diet or keto or something like that, then instead of using those proteins to build your muscle, your lean muscle mass, those proteins are then being converted into energy. And now, instead of like having more muscle, the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism is, the more calories you burn at rest. Now those proteins are being used for energy. So we want to give your body like enough energy throughout with carbs per meal to be able to give you enough energy to go throughout your day, and then also give yourself enough protein to be able to build those muscles. And carbs are found in lots of delicious foods. They're in breads, chips, bagels, potatoes, fruit, pasta, all that good stuff. Anything sweet, anything delicious. Please just don't eliminate carbs, but just try to have like a really good serving of carbs each meal. And okay, let's talk about the difference between complex carbs and simple carbs for a second. So, okay, let me go forward. So the difference between complex carbs and simple carbs. Here is an example of a piece of white bread and a piece of whole grain bread. And they're providing about the same amount of calories and about the same amount of carbs, but the whole grain bread is going to be also providing your body with fiber and vitamins and minerals to just nourish your body. And every time you eat, I want that to be like you fueling your body. So if you eat white bread occasionally, it's not the end of the world. But if you're doing that on the regular, then you are missing out on certain vitamins, minerals, and fiber. And fiber is super important because it can help stabilize your blood sugars, it can help with your cholesterol levels, it can help you stay fuller longer. And basically, if you're eating lots of whole foods, you should be getting enough fiber. So fiber is going to be found in those whole grains, like the whole grain bread, brown rice, also nuts, seeds, fruits, veggies, legumes, all that good stuff. And when it comes to choosing the right kind of carbs, so just trying to stick to as much like whole grain and as many whole foods as you can. So instead of white bread, using whole grain bread. Instead of white pasta, whole grain pasta. Or I really like to use like a chickpea pasta. I think those are really good. Like Ritz crackers, you could have wheat thins or good thins. That also has some gluten-free options. White pizza dough, you could do a whole grain pizza dough, or what I've been doing recently actually is using like a whole grain pita, like a whole grain pita bread or like a whole grain tortilla or something, and using that as like a base for a pizza, like a personal pizza, and then your family can like make their own. It's really fun. Instead of like a sugary cereal, try to cut down on all that added sugar, because sugar is just giving you calories and carbs with zero nutrients, and also a very condensed form. So it's important to stay away from sugar as much as you can. Instead of candy, fruit. I know it's not the same, but try to use that healthy option. And then instead of sugar, I like to sweeten, like here's my tea I made. I like to sweeten it with like stevia or Truvia or something. Okay, protein. Protein is so great for building your muscles, helping your hormones, and most importantly, stabilizing your blood sugars, keeping you fuller longer, and those things can help you lose weight. So protein is found in things like meat, fish, legumes, nuts, seeds, eggs, as you can see right here. And I'm going to talk about this so much more next Thursday when we have our energy level and snacking or YouTube live, but I just want to touch on it really quick. Combining protein and carbs is essential for regulating your blood sugars, which can therefore help you lose weight, help you control your hunger, and help your energy levels, all that good stuff. But for right now, we're just going to keep it basic, and I'm just going to explain that having a protein and a carb together at all times is really going to help stabilize your blood sugar. So having a protein and a carb together is going to help you look like this bottom level right here. And if you aren't really balancing out the macronutrients we're talking about, so your protein, carbs, and fat, that can lead to this roller coaster that you see on the top. So always trying to make sure that you're having a good balance of macronutrients and not ever eliminating any kind of like group of one of those three is going to be super important. And I'll go into a lot of detail about this kind of stuff next week. Okay, and fat. So fat is really important also. The big one that comes to me when I think of fat is hormones, like helping your hormones, helping your mood. Having healthy fats can help your inflammation, and fat helps in weight loss just because it really helps your hunger and fullness and all that kind of stuff. It helps in vitamin absorption. And the kind of fats that we're trying to consume are going to be your more plant-based fats rather than your animal-based fats, because those plant-based fats are going to be having that good kind of fat. So the nuts, the seeds, the avocados, those are going to be the healthier fats, whereas things that come from animals like butter, the marbling you see in meat, anything thick, rich, and creamy, that is going to be the not so good kind of fat that we're trying to stay away from. So swapping healthier things for fat instead of butter. If you're cooking, I like to cook with avocado oil because it has a higher smoke point than olive oil, basically, which means you can cook it at a higher temperature and it won't go crazy. But if you're using butter like as a spread, then you can do a light butter alternative, such as I can't believe it's not butter or Smart Balance, that kind of thing. If you are having beef, don't be scared of beef. A lot of people are scared of it, and you shouldn't be, because it's so good for you. The only thing that can be potentially bad about beef is whenever it's a really fatty cut. So if you're eating like a filet and you're having ground beef that's like 93% lean, or like 97% even, it's gonna be great. It's so delicious and it's good for you. And if you want to buy the like 80-20, just make sure that you're really getting that fat out of the pan before you eat it. Cheese is also good. Just make sure that you're choosing low-fat cheese options, because we don't want that animal-based fat if we're eating it on the daily. Ice cream, instead of ice cream, you could do like a frozen banana and milk. People laugh at that one. Milk, just make sure you're doing a skim milk. You can do almond milk or cashew milk, but you need to make sure that you are being mindful that those don't have as much protein. So I recommend doing like a Fairlife milk. That's my favorite. If you're craving like sausage and bacon, then you can do turkey sausage and turkey bacon, but it still has saturated fat in it. So just make sure to limit it. Try to just avoid eating the skin on meat unless it's like salmon or something, because that's actually good for you. Casseroles, anything that solidifies in the fridge. So, whenever you like make a pot roast or something and you put it in the fridge and you get it out the next day and there's like this white film, that's what we're trying to avoid. So anything like that, we're trying to stay away from. So trying to have more like brothy based soups and crock pot recipes and stuff like that. Try to avoid fried foods, try the baked foods. And another example is, instead of mayonnaise, doing olive oil mayonnaise. Like instead of butter, you're doing olive oil. Okay, so with that being said, here's just an example of putting it together for breakfast. This is my favorite breakfast ever. Having 2 slices of freshly baked whole grain bread with some peanut butter and blueberries and chia seeds on top. And then you need some more protein, so maybe some hard-boiled eggs would be good to have on the side of that. And then for lunch, you could have a big salad with even more veggies, like some bell peppers and mushrooms. You could add some chicken for your lean protein, some hummus and some almonds for your healthy fat, as well as balsamic vinaigrette. And then you could have an apple. You could have the apple on the side, or you could chop up that apple inside of the salad. That's like what I like to do for a little bit more crunch. For a snack, you could do a low-fat string cheese and some grapes. Dinner, salmon over kale with a side of a sweet potato and some crispy Brussels sprouts. And then for dessert, you could have like a non-fat Greek yogurt with fruit. So that's pretty much like whole foods. You're getting lots of colors, variety, and making sure to always have a good balance of those macronutrients. Okay, so let's dig into the quarantine a little bit. I know I was saying in the beginning that it's so hard to like, it was just like one day we woke up and everyone's working from home. And so you don't have a lot of time to think about your new schedule. And it's so important to just have like a consistent schedule, a way of eating, and just like a plan for the day. I think everyone's plan is a little bit off. So I want to talk about quarantine and like tips and tricks in terms of like a 36-hour period, and instead of saying, oh, here's all my random tips and tricks. So I'm going to start like at Sunday at 3 p.m. and we're going to work all the way until Monday night. So let's just say it's 3 p.m. on Sunday and you need to go to the grocery store. One of the huge mistakes that I see people make is not making a grocery list, because when you don't make a grocery list, then that means that usually you're not getting enough food for like all your meals you need, and then that could potentially lead to you going out to get fast food or going and getting food from a restaurant and spending more money than you needed to and not fueling your body correctly. So make a grocery list and always go to the grocery store either with a snack or not being hungry. I've made that mistake a little too many times, and it's not good. I'll look down at my cart and everything is like bad for me. So don't do that either. And then try to stick to whole foods. A lot of people say to stay in the perimeter of the grocery store, which is true because that's where a lot of the whole foods are. But I do like to go on the inside of the store to get certain things like protein bars and like peanut butter, like whole grain pasta, that kind of thing. So don't be scared to go on the inside. And then prepare. So if you can just take 30 minutes after you go to the grocery store, and instead of just putting every single thing in your inside your fridge, just chop it all up at once, you will be so happy. I'm not a huge fan of meal prepping because I don't love like leftovers, but having all your veggies chopped up in the beginning and ready to go is just so much better, because you're not just having to like cry over cutting onions every single day, and you're not having to wash the wash the knife and the cutting board and all that kind of stuff. And that way you can just grab a snack, throw it in your walk, whatever you want to do, and it's just so much better. Another thing I didn't mention earlier is I do give away like a free 7-day meal plan and grocery list that just has different options of like inspiration of foods, breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner that you can eat. So if you want a copy of this, then just email me at nicolehinkley.rd@gmail.com and I'll send you a copy and subscribe you to my newsletter. I send like a little blog every week, and it's usually like relevant, talking about quarantine, stuff like that. So I also like to make bento boxes. If you struggle with portion control, these are awesome because you just grab it and go. And another great thing about them is you just feel like so satisfied because there's such a variety. So how I like to do it is say pick a protein, pick a healthy fat, pick a fruit, pick a veggie, and pick a dip. So here for my protein, I did a low-fat string cheese. For my healthy fat, I did almonds. For my fruit, I did some grapes. For my vegetable, I did some red bell pepper and cucumber. And for my dip, I did hummus. And also note that it's all different color. Like if I would have done like orange bell pepper with just a straight orange string cheese and an orange and some carrots for my vegetable, it would not have been as satisfying. So if you're feeding like kids and stuff like that, keep the color in mind. Okay, and let's just say that you were out and about at the grocery store and didn't feel like cooking, so you grab food. Please portion it out when you get home, because that restaurant is just giving you portion. They don't know how much you need to eat. So I recommend that you just like go home, You can like kind of structure on my plate, add a salad if you need some extra veggies, and that way you just like don't feel like you have to finish your plate. And then prioritize. So if you are picking up food to take home with the quarantine, and let's just say it's like Mexican food, for example, make sure that you're picking and choosing what's really important to you. So if they have, they have the option to have like chips, tortillas, rice, beans, a margarita, and sopapilla. Like that's so much, like that's so many carbs. So just really pick and choose what's important to you. Like, would you rather have the chips? Would you rather have the tortillas? Would you rather have the margaritas? For me personally, especially on the weekend, I would love to have a margarita. And so if I want the margarita, I want my carbs to be coming from the margarita, I'm just gonna order like fajitas or something and fill up on some lean protein and veggies, maybe some like guacamole or something for that healthy fat, and then be getting my carbs through my margarita. So that's kind of how I talk about balance. It's almost like an exchange system, so you don't ever have to feel guilty about eating certain foods because you're kind of exchanging them. Okay, so let's start on a Monday, a busy Monday. All right, so you wake up at 6:30, and one of the things that is so great to do is just to drink water first thing. Water is so great for many, many reasons. It helps you with your digestion. I've seen a lot of people that have like stomach problems and stuff, and then like literally the answer is just they weren't drinking enough water. Helps with nutrient absorption. It helps you stay hydrated, feel more full before your meals, and it can help you feel focused, alert, helps your skin, it helps with a million other reasons. But just waking up and doing something like drinking water first thing is a healthy habit that will just make you feel really good about, it's like making your bed. Like you just want to feel good about doing something, and that can just be a great practice to add into your morning routine. And then sit down and breathe. Like I think it's so important in the morning to reflect on like what you're going to do for the day. So make sure that you've penciled in your exercise. Make sure you've written it in pen and circled it. Scheduled in like it is an appointment that you cannot miss. And make sure if you have to like run errands or whatever, that you have snacks and you've like prepared everything. And I think like that's one of the biggest problems people run into is they leave for the day and then they don't eat enough, and then they get home and they go crazy because they're starving. So just make sure that you have like prepared everything and you have your snacks, and you have like a good understanding of what's going on with your day. And then let's talk about your breakfast. So for breakfast, again, choose a carb, choose a protein, healthy fat, and then add in some extra nutrients if available. So pick a carb, step 1. Let's just say you choose a slice of toast. And then step 2, choose a protein or fat. Maybe I want some eggs. And then step 3, I'm at home, so I'll have some raspberries on the side. So like that would be like a great breakfast. Here's some more examples for you. You could have, if you're on the go, I do this one a lot when I'm on the go. I'll have Better Oats is just a brand I like, but I'll have some oatmeal and I'll put a little Jif to go packet in there. Sometimes I have strawberries because we do like recipe development and stuff. So I usually have those when I'm traveling. But if you're at home, like most of us are, then having like an English muffin with Canadian bacon and egg and avocado is a great option. Very wholesome, very tasty and delicious, very balanced. If you want these breakfast egg bites, I have a little recipe on my website, and they're so good. Great for snacks, great for breakfast, great for at home or on the go. So yeah, those are really great to make ahead of time. Here's just an example of a quarantine breakfast. I'm just trying to think like frozen. Like a lot of people have frozen waffles, so you could have a frozen whole grain waffle with some peanut butter, some blueberries, chia seeds, and then I like to have a glass of Fairlife milk on the side just to give me some extra protein. And I'll probably have about 2 of these because that's about the right portion size for me. Okay, and then like I said earlier, before you leave your house or walk into your office or whatever that is, make sure that you are prepared. So I like to keep certain foods in my car, in my purse, in my desk drawer, and always keep a water bottle with you. I like to think about how many ounces you need, and then instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I've had 53 ounces today, just think about it in terms of that bottle. So I know that I need 3 of these water bottles every single day. And then when it comes to that mid-morning snacky time, it's kind of different depending on everyone. I would say about half of my clients need a mid-morning snack, and then half of them don't, and it really depends on, well, number one, how active you are in the morning, and then number two, it depends on when you're waking up and eating breakfast. So if you're waking up at 5 a.m. and you're not eating lunch until 1, you need a snack. I recommend eating every 3 to 4 hours, so you definitely need a snack. But if you're eating breakfast at 9 and then you're eating lunch at 12, then you probably don't need a snack. If you're at home, I know a lot of people are just feeling munchy because you walk by your pantry and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna eat this thing, a few bites of these crackers, whatever. It can be so tempting. So I highly recommend mapping out your day to where you're eating every 3 to 4 hours and kind of distributing your calories according to that. And then another question that I always ask myself is, are you hungry enough right now to eat carrots? Because if you're not hungry enough to eat carrots, then chances are you're probably not hungry and you're just bored. Okay, so lunchtime rolls around, and since we're from home, we're eating off our dinner plates and stuff we have. So let's just take a look over here at the history of the size of dinner plates. So back in the 60s, that was a great portion size, but now it's just crazy. 12 inches is about the size of a dinner plate. So I definitely recommend eating off of a snack plate, unless your whole plate is filled with vegetables or something. But eating off a snack plate is usually about the right size. Or one of my clients today said, I just don't like anything to touch. So then you can eat off the bigger plate. But eating off a snack plate is about the right size, and I think a lot of people like to fill their plate. You feel a lot more satisfied if your plate looks full. So take a look at your plate next time you're eating and make sure that it's not really, really, really big. Another thing to think about at lunchtime is trying to get lots of nutrients, different colors, different vitamins and minerals in, because different vitamins and minerals have different nutrients. So people say eat a rainbow a day, which is a great recommendation. So you can read some about these, red, purple, blue. Those typically have more anthocyanins, and then orange and yellow fruits and veggies, they have beta carotene. So green just has everything. But really try to fuel your body with different colors, and just to make sure that you're getting the nutrients that you need. All right, so around that 2 to 4 p.m. time, I think people start getting tired, and this is due to a lot of things, which we will talk about in the next 2 sessions, which is my favorite thing to talk about. But it is so important that, well, number one, you're asking yourself, why are you so tired, and why do you feel like you need all the sugar and caffeine? So first ask yourself that. But definitely don't try to go out to Starbucks, whatever, and really I don't want to say honor that, because I love when people honor their hunger, but don't go get this crazy sugar-filled, caffeine-filled drink, because that's only going to make it worse. By doing that, it's only going to make it the roller coaster we were looking at earlier. It's going to make it so much worse. So if instead you can have a water, you can sweeten it with Mio, or you can do a tea, a herbal tea. You can even do a little bit of caffeine, that's fine. But my biggest question is why do you feel like you need so much caffeine all the time? Because usually that means that there's something wrong in the diet. So try to choose a 0-calorie drink around that time. It'll just make you feel so much better long term. And then please, please, please eat a snack. If you don't eat a snack, I mean, I would say it's almost like 100% of people that don't eat snacks. They go home, they walk in their house, they go to the pantry, and they just stand in there, open a bag, and just start eating. And before you know it, it's so many calories. They've had so many different things, and then they feel guilty, and then they feel tired, and then they're hungry again, and it's just again the cycle. So please eat a snack, plan for a snack, but the key here when it comes to this quarantine is having a snack rather than snacking. So we don't want to just like go in and eat a little eat a little snack and then 30 minutes later munch on something at your desk and then an hour later go grab some chips or something. We want it to be very controlled. So again, thinking about that every 3 to 4 hours. So maybe that's breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. Whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you, just make sure that it's spaced out about every 3 to 4 hours and you will feel so much better. You will feel like you are in control, but don't think that snacking is bad because it is definitely not. It'll save you so many calories. Like having that 200 little calorie snack will probably save you 600 plus calories a day. And if you're feeling really snacky, something that I do to just like kind of trick my brain into thinking I'm a little bit more satisfied is having like a little mini cheese board. So getting like a few grapes, a little bit of cheese, a few crackers, a few almonds, like just having that variety, kind of like the bento box, just makes you feel so much more satisfied. Okay, do's and don'ts of snacking. So do have a really well balanced snack, grapes and string cheese, apple and peanut butter. I like it typically when people are sitting down with a portioned out snack rather than just like standing up and eating out of the bag or something. So please don't, like we were talking earlier, like don't eat because you're bored. Don't eat because you're tired. Don't eat because you want to, or just sit down, have a good portion snack, and don't like go crazy. Snacks are meant to make you really not feel hungry and kind of tie you over to the next meal. You're not supposed to be like super full after a snack. So my favorite example of a quarantine snack, I think I have a problem. I have a peanut butter, me and Bentley, my golden retriever, we have a peanut butter obsession. But something that you could probably find in your pantry are oats, nut butter. You can add some flavor if you want, like chocolate chips or dried fruit. I love to add protein powder. My favorite protein powder, none of these brands, by the way, are sponsored. Like I just like them. My favorite protein powder is, it's by Bulk Supplements, and it's an unflavored protein powder. So you can just like mix it in and it's flavorless, which is great because I'm so burnt out on like all those like fake sugar protein powders and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, look for an unflavored one. It's just straight whey protein powder. Definitely add some honey because it just is so much better, and the stickiness and everything. And then don't forget to add spices, so like cinnamon, nutmeg, whatever it is. I'm obsessed with peanut butter too. Yeah, peanut butter is the greatest. Whatever it is, like whatever season it is, I just kind of roll with it. So if it's like, October and stuff, I'll do like pumpkin spice, like that kind of stuff. What does it say? When I moved to Hong Kong 10 years ago, I brought 10 jars with me. That's so funny. Yeah, I have a problem. I give Bentley, my puppy, or he's 3 and 4 days. I give him like a Jif peanut butter jar. I used to give him like to lick the outside once a week. Like it was bad. Okay, 5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock rolls around. It's time to exercise. Well, for some people, I know all of our schedules are thrown off and we can't get to the classes we wanted, but try to pick something that you really like. I'm a huge fan of joyful movement. I mean, yeah, like suck it up sometimes and go if you don't want. But to me, like when I hear people say like, yeah, I run and I hate running, that's not gonna last. So think about something that you love to do, whether that's walking your dog or doing yoga, whatever it is. Do something that you love to do and try to do it honestly every day. I did this monthly challenge. I love monthly challenges. I think they're so fun. I did this monthly challenge this month, or I'm still doing it, and my husband and I, we said that we want to run a minimum of 3 miles every single day, which is kind of extreme. Yeah, well, kind of. It's not really that extreme. But normally I'm like, oh my gosh, that's too much. You don't want to burn yourself out. And I can see that side, but it really, really changed my mindset because before I found like I usually work out like 5 days a week. And before when I work out 5 days a week, my mindset's like, if it's Wednesday or Thursday and I'm just feeling lazy, I'll say, oh, I'll just work out on Saturday or I'll just work out on Sunday. And I'm like constantly looking for excuses to get out of it. So when you have to do something every single day, it really just takes that out of the picture. So you're not thinking about like, oh, how can I get out of this? How can I push this to another week? And then also we said we want to run the whole thing without walking. So my whole run, I'm not miserable thinking, oh, when can I walk? You know what I mean? So I think doing something every day, and it doesn't have to be like 3 miles. It could be walking 1 mile or doing 30 minutes of something every day. That is like a little bit easier on the mindset. Okay, so 7 p.m., so dinner time rolls around. Think back to the Choose My Plate guidelines. So we talked about this: whole foods, fruits and veggies, lean proteins, all that good stuff. But what happens whenever it's not just straight protein, straight grains, that kind of thing? Well, let's talk about it. So let's just use like a hamburger, for example. How can you make a hamburger fit into a plate like this? So what I kind of do is in my head, I divide it into categories. So I kind of like section off the bun in one portion and then the meat. So like I'll just like kind of envision a plate and I'll put like the meat in the protein section. And you know, I really want sweet potato fries instead of the bun. So I'm just going to put some sweet potato fries for my grains and then have a big salad with it. So that's just like one way to look at it. And then like spaghetti, if you want to have spaghetti, maybe you need to add some extra veggies. So you can add some extra vegetables to that sauce, and then, or you could put some spaghetti squash in the spaghetti, and then you could do like a little bit of pasta, or you could do like a chickpea pasta, and then having that with like a big side salad would be perfect. Okay, and this is just kind of how I visualize it. Like last night, I had salmon for my protein. It was really good. We marinated it and then broiled it. That's the key to good salmon, is broil. We did salmon and sweet potato fries, and then we had a big salad, and then we also had some Brussels sprouts, which we did in the air fryer. That's another secret, air fryer. And then we put a little bit of balsamic glaze on it, and it tasted like a restaurant. It was so good. So an example of a quarantine dinner. So you can do what we were talking about, or what I was talking about earlier, where you can do like your own little pita or like non-bread pizza. But if you have like a cauliflower crust, you can start with whatever crust you want, and then you just build it there. So you have your whole grain with the crust. You have, kind of like your whole grain with the crust. You have your low-fat cheese for the dairy, a lean protein. I know some people are so against fruit on pizza, but I like it. You can do your lean protein with your Canadian bacon and like some pineapple for your fruit. And then I recommend, since this doesn't have a lot of veggies / any veggies, having like a big old side salad with it. Okay, and when you're cooking, watch out for the BLTs. So I know I've definitely been guilty of cooking something and eating the entire time I'm cooking. And then when I get done with the meal, I sit down and I'm like, I don't even want this anymore because I'm full. So before you know it, it can really add up. Those calories can add up to like hundreds of calories before you really realize it. So just be really careful to wait until dinner to eat your meal. And then, okay, another huge like common thing that people think is that you can't eat healthy and also like make your food taste good. So I know a lot of people that think like, if you're eating healthy, it needs to be chicken and broccoli and rice. And that is so not the case. Like, please flavor your food. My personal favorite is like oregano. I love cooking with oregano, basil, definitely garlic, love garlic. And don't be scared to add salt, because salt really enhances the flavor of your food. And if you're cooking at home, you probably aren't adding too much salt. Like at a restaurant and stuff, the sodium content is super high, especially like fast food. But if you're eating at home, don't be scared to add a little bit of salt, especially since you guys are exercising so much. You need some sodium to like regulate your electrolytes, all that kind of stuff. And trick your brain. So if you are one of those people that doesn't like, you like need a lot of like bulk to make yourself full, instead of filling up on pasta, you should try like making that food bigger. So if that makes sense, like adding cauliflower rice to your rice, adding spaghetti squash to your spaghetti, eating more veggies, or starting with your veggies. Like try to like trick your brain and like make you think that you're eating a lot more than you really are. Okay, so after dinner, a lot of people in quarantine and all the time run into that late night eating, kind of the whole snacking thing. And you can ask yourself the carrots question again, but if it's been 3 to 4 hours since dinner, I honestly eat a snack, like a very controlled snack after dinner, because I'm hungry and I am a night owl. So if I eat dinner at 7 and I stay up till 12, then I'm starving. So I like eating a snack after dinner, but I think I've definitely been in stages where it's been very unhealthy and it's been like a binge and that kind of thing. So if you're eating because you are like sad or emotional, or you just it's a habit, then don't do it. But if you are like, you need a little snack and you are eating a very controlled, balanced snack, then it's okay. Like, don't be scared of it. People get scared to eat late just because everyone says don't eat late, oh my gosh, don't eat after 7. But typically the calories that come in then are like extra, and I think that's why it's become such like a strong, like, don't eat after 7. But if it's built into your day and your plan, then don't be scared to eat a little snack. Try to avoid eating when you're like sad, bored, stressed, all those kinds of things. But just okay, we're gonna talk. Okay, I could talk about this all day because I love talking about this. And not next week, but the next week, we're doing one on stress eating, and is it emotional or biological? And it's gonna be so fun. I can't wait. And then sleep. So make sure to go to sleep, because cortisol, I need to tell myself this because like I said, I'm a night owl and it's hard for me to go to sleep. But cortisol, if you're not sleeping enough, your cortisol can raise. And if your cortisol gets too high, then it can increase that hunger hormone called ghrelin. And whenever that ghrelin is increased, that can make you hungrier. So put the phones up, try to get a really good night's sleep, and it'll just like help you start your day right, and then go drink water, all that kind of stuff, and repeat. So I hope that helped. I hope it's helping you think a little bit more about just structuring your day, and like, instead of just like hearing a tip and like one ear out the other, it really helped you like, okay, here's how I'm gonna fit that tip into my day. But yeah, so I am here for a long time answering as many questions as you want. This is a Q&A for you guys, so ask away. I am looking at the questions you're asking. Rachel said, I love to use my... Oh! Yeah, sorry, I was away from my keyboard when you talked about salmon. Yes, I love salmon. It's like my favorite food ever. Like salmon, crispy Brussels sprouts, and some kind of like sweet potato is amazing. So I know there's a little bit of a delay here, so I'm just gonna like wait for you guys to send in some questions. But ask away, ask anything. You can talk to me about quarantine foods, recipes, things that you are struggling with. Yeah, so I'm just gonna sit here and ask away. Oh, and so if you want to subscribe to the newsletter I was talking about earlier and get like a little 7-day meal plan and grocery list, just email me right here at NicoleHinkleyRD@gmail.com. And I'm always posting like tons of stories and tons of tips on my Instagram at Blissful Nutritionist. And if you want to go to my website, I don't know if you have to put www anymore, but it's just NicoleHinkleyRD.com. You can also subscribe to my newsletter through a banner on my website. And if you guys want me to go back to any slides and review the slides, then I'm more than happy to do that too. And I hear all kinds of questions, like don't be afraid to ask something because I hear all. How about I ask you guys questions? um, what was your favorite snack that, or what was your favorite like food or meal that you want to try that I mentioned today? Sorry, there's a delay. Or, next question, are you guys planning on tuning in to the next two sessions? The snacking at home one next Thursday, it is about snacking at home, but it's also about so much more. We're going to be talking about energy levels and how that impacts a lot of different things. And then the stress eating one is going to be that's kind of you kind of need to listen to the other two to listen to that one just because I explain how energy levels and carbs and blood sugars work. So it's going to be really fun to talk about that one too. So you should definitely tune into those. And if you have like a more like personal question that you don't want to ask on here, then just email me. I would love to answer your questions through email or Instagram, either one of those two. Do you guys have any questions? If you liked the presentation, send an emoji. Okay. Okay, well, I don't want to keep you guys on here for too long. So if you don't have any questions, then I will close out. Oh, question. Okay, great presentation. Will you be doing talks regarding the new science and studies? What new science and studies? I guess to answer your question, I try to stay as updated as I can as far as nutrition goes, unless you're talking about quarantine specifically. Thanks, Jean. Okay, guys. Well, if there's no more questions, then I'm gonna close out. But yeah, don't seriously don't be scared or whatever to reach out to me and ask me anything. Okay. Well, it was great to have you guys, and I look forward to next week. Oh, intermittent fasting. Okay, last okay. So intermittent fasting. Yes, I intermittent fasting is hard because I assume that's what you mean by IF. It is hard because it's very dependent on the person because certain people, because I'm a big fan of blood sugars and stuff, so certain people, it makes sense for them to intermittent fast, and certain people, depending on when they work out and that kind of stuff, it doesn't make sense for them to intermittent fast. So I guess it just depends on the amount of hours that you are fasting and your activity level, that kind of thing. But yeah, I will do some research on that and send me an email. I would love to hear about you specifically and if you currently intermittent fast and if you like it, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there wasn't too much research when I looked into it a little while ago, but I definitely will dive back into it and see um, what the latest research is. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna close out now. But yeah, thanks so much for being on here, and we'll talk next week.